Well, Carve, great to see you. Now, we broke the news a few moments ago. All 26 out there for Gareth Southgate. Great news.
Yes, very good news for Gareth Southgate. Obviously, there'd been some injury concerns about Kieran Trippier because he hadn't taken part in the last two main training sessions, but that was just to manage his workload. But he is training today. I'll just step out a shot so you can actually see all the England players going through their paces, and Kieran Trippier is taking part in the full training session, as is Luke Shaw. Now, obviously, the left-back position has been a concern for Gareth Southgate. He came to this tournament with only one recognised left-back in his squad, Luke Shaw. But Kieran Trippier, who normally plays as a right-back, has, of course, been playing as a left-back. And he's done a pretty good job in that position, you have to say. He is very consistent, very dependable. Some might say that he doesn't offer as much of a threat going forward as a conventional left back, and that is why maybe if England are to progress very far in this tournament, it would be good to have Luke Shaw back. But you can see there, Luke Shaw taking part in full training. He's had this hamstring issue since February when he was injured playing for Manchester United, and he's been on his own training programme out here in Germany. But over the past few days, I would say, the past sort of week, he has been training regularly with the rest of the first team squad. Now, it would be a bit of a shock if we were to see Luke Shaw start the game tomorrow, because obviously he hasn't played since February. But I think the plan is for him to be eased back into the team. So we may well see him get some minutes against Slovakia tomorrow.
So hopefully that's it's good news in terms of the left-back situation. Obviously, they have that final training session, so we'll have to wait and see who is going to be starting, as you mentioned, against Slovakia, hoping no breakdowns today. Obviously, there's big decisions to make for Gareth Southgate across the side. Do you think he's going to make any major alterations? And if so, where would they come?
Good question. It's really what everybody's talking about at the moment, what the starting 11 will be tomorrow against Slovakia, because this is such a crucial game. Knowing Gareth Southgate, I don't think he's going to make wholesale changes, because this is a knockout game in the Euros. It's not a time anymore to take risks or to experiment. I think we're going to see Kobbie Mainoo start tomorrow, and the reason I say that is I know some people will say he's only 19, it's a risk for him to start such a big game, but having seen his performance in the second half against Slovenia, he was so impressive when he came on the pitch. From where I was sitting, he looked almost the complete midfield player. I was reading somebody had written, I think yesterday, that, you know, England don't need a Toni Kroos, they don't need a Luka Modric, they just need a Calvin Phillips. And Gareth Southgate said it himself. He needs a Calvin Phillips type player to be playing next to Declan Rice. And that 45 minutes, Kobbie Mainoo did everything that was expected of him and more. The partnership with Declan Rice standing there next to him looked really, really good. They played well together as a pair. Kobbie Mainoo being on the pitch brought even more out of Declan Rice. England looked a lot more solid. They looked much better balanced with those two in midfield. That is why there is every expectation that Kobbie Mainoo will start tomorrow. Even though you have to say, take nothing away from Conor Gallagher, who is an exceptional player and has never let England down, and also Trent Alexander-Arnold, who started off playing alongside Declan Rice. He's an exceptional player as well. But I just think at the moment it makes sense for England to go with Rice and Mainoo as the midfield partnership.
So that's the situation in the engine room. In terms of making some tinkering decisions in the attacking areas, do you think that Southgate will do that?
Again, I would be surprised. I think it's likely that he will stick with the same players. So I think we're likely, of course, to see Harry Kane up front. We are likely to see Saka and Foden starting out wide as well. Now, I know if you listen to talking shows on the radio, for instance, if you speak to a lot of fans, a lot of England supporters want to see Cole Palmer start tomorrow in place, perhaps, of Bukayo Saka, simply because he's had such an exceptional season, Chelsea Player of the Season, and also in the 20 minutes that he played against Slovenia, he made a real impact. He's just got such a sort of brilliant languid style. He looks so comfortable, whatever level he's playing at, nothing seems to faze him, and he really added something when he came on against Slovenia. I'm not sure that Gareth Southgate will gamble. Well, I'm not sure it even would be a gamble because Cole Palmer is such a good player. I just think there's a sense that Gareth Southgate is likely to stick with Bukayo Saka, but Cole Palmer definitely will get some minutes. I'm pretty sure that he'll come onto the pitch at some point tomorrow against Slovakia. The other player that, of course, a lot of people have been calling for, there's been a real clamour for Anthony Gordon to start as well. He's such a confident young man. He gave a brilliant performance at his news conference here in Germany yesterday. He believes himself 100%, and he came on for a few minutes. I think he came on in the 89th minute against Slovenia. But again, even though he was on the pitch just for a few minutes, he made a real impact as well. And when he's on the pitch, England look better balanced. Naturally, he plays in that position. He's very comfortable going forward. He always gives the defender he's up against something to think about. He also works very, very hard when his side don't have the ball, and he's a real goal threat. So I can understand why people are making the case for him to start. Newcastle United's Player of the Year as well. But again, I just feel that Gareth Southgate will think this is a knockout game. This is a big game. He will probably want to have Foden and Bellingham on the pitch. That would mean, I think, that Anthony Gordon will probably have to settle for a place on the bench and maybe come on in the second half. But I'm not alone in thinking that we need to see more of Anthony Gordon, and hopefully if he comes on, it won't be as late as the 89th minute.
Well, you mentioned Bellingham there. How much of a concern is it for you that he's admitted that he's tired? He's obviously had a wonderful season for Real Madrid, and it's interesting that Wayne Rooney's been talking about him and how he should operate in the remainder of the tournament, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, Jude Bellingham, of course, in the opening game against Serbia in the first 20, 30 minutes, he was absolutely brilliant. The way he played, the way he scored his goal, he left you feeling that he was going to be one, if not the star of this tournament. Okay, in the next two games, Denmark and Slovenia, he didn't play particularly well, but he wasn't alone. Quite a few of his teammates were also quite underwhelming. And then he came out after the game against Slovenia and said that physically I think he was feeling a bit tired and he needed a rest. But of course, he doesn't actually really want a rest. And it would be a massive surprise if Gareth Southgate didn't pick him tomorrow. I still think Jude Bellingham, even when he's tired, has so much to offer any side because unquestionably he's one of the best players in the world at the moment. The second part of your question regarding Wayne Rooney and his comments about Bellingham, really interesting column by Wayne Rooney. I think it's in the Times today. He has a weekly column during the Euros, and he said that he had been where Jude Bellingham is at the moment, in the sense that he thinks that Jude Bellingham is just trying a little bit too hard at the moment. That is why he's getting frustrated, and I think his advice to him is just keep calm and keep doing what you do and don't try to do too much. Don't try to carry the team or carry the country on your shoulders. Just focus on doing your own job. And he also made the point that he would like to see Jude Bellingham talking to the media more. From my own personal point of view, I would love that as well. He said that Jude Bellingham is now part of England's senior leadership group, and that means that he has to take more responsibility when it comes to speaking to the media. So hopefully we will see that as well. I'm sure we'll get a chance to speak to Jude Bellingham at some point during these Euros. But England need him back to his best, and I know he said he's tired, but come on, Jude. Just a few more games, and I'm sure he'll be ready to go again tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be okay. I suppose the most important thing in terms of who's saying what and who's listening is what Gareth Southgate's been saying to the players after 3 sort of lacklustre performances. What do you think his message is going to be to his players between now and kick-off? And he's obviously been saying on a number of occasions it's about dealing with the environment they're in. Have you sort of tapped into exactly what he's been talking about? Because he's mentioned it quite a few times, hasn't he?
Yes, I think, one way of looking at it is perhaps he was referring to the environment that is surrounding the squad at the moment, some negative comments and criticisms. But he's always been very clear. The squad need to block all that out. And knowing Gareth Southgate, as everybody in the media does, I think his message to the players will be, we need an improved performance tomorrow. But look, the most important thing is the result. And I think England defensively have been playing really, really well. In the second half against Slovenia, the midfield looked much better balanced with Mainu in there. I think up front, of course, they've got an embarrassment of riches. We just need to see more from those attacking players. We need to see them creating more chances and finishing off those chances. And I'm sure he'll also be saying to his players, do not underestimate Slovakia, because Slovakia are a very good side. They're a very energetic, dynamic side. They're a high-pressing side. So England will need to be at their best to beat them and progress in this competition tomorrow.
OK, Carve, thank you very much indeed. And just a reminder for everyone that we will be hearing from Gareth Southgate a little bit later on this evening. The England manager will be speaking alongside Harry Kane, and you'll be able to see that right here on Sky Sports News.